Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Beantown Beatdown.
Matthew Burris.
Gabe Shamus.
Yep. Running a little short here on time. I got lost on the way here.
Yep.
So it's gonna be relatively short today.
Short but sweet. Exactly.
Yep. About as sweet as this Irish hard cider from Magners.
Nice. Cheers to
that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. So let's get right into it. This Saturday, Deontay Wilder defends his WBC heavyweight championship against Luis Ortiz in a rematch.
Right. Title fight.
Yeah. Now, of course, I didn't have money to order this on pay-per-view, so I won't be ordering it on pay-per-view this Saturday. And I've been meaning to talk about it. I mean, we kind of mentioned it a while back, but we haven't done like a final countdown or anything for it because like I can't order the pay-per-view, and also because it has gotten it does have a buzz. There is a buzz to this, but the thing about it is that of course we all are waiting on the big fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And of course that fight has not come to fruition yet. I mean, they did say that they were going to fight in February, but then it's like and then once again Tyson Fury goes back on it, so now it's another, once again it's a clusterfuck.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. I love clusterfucks.
Well, that's boxing for you, all the politics.
Yes, indeed.
And so, I mean, and plus, Wilder already knocked out Ortiz. So I have a feeling this won't be any different. You know, Deontay Wilder, he's going to knock out Ortiz.
Right.
And then he's going to hopefully get ready for either Tyson Fury or the winner of John Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua.
Okay. So you're saying the title's gonna hold?
No, it's not hold. I mean, Deontay has the WBC title.
Okay.
Ruiz has the WBA and IBF and WBO title.
Okay.
And the linear championship, the lineal heavyweight championship, belongs to Tyson Fury.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
So once again, we don't know who's going to be fighting who after all this, when the smoke clears.
Right.
But, it's, I mean, it could be possible we could get Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I mean, they've been trying to have those two fight for years. And,
yeah,
I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the true nature of boxing. That brings it back to the primordial days. Who's last standing and all that.
Yeah, but the, the problem is just because of the politics, like, oh, our fighter only fights on this channel, and all this other stuff. And when reality is, the fans are really missing out, and we just want to see a good fight.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's always about. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so for this Saturday, I think Deontay Wilder's going to win. Also, Leo Santa Cruz defends his title against Figueroa Jr. So that's going to be a good fight. So, and also that's the same day that we're doing Ringside with Matt and Gabe.
Yep, indeed.
Yeah, and a special time. It's going to be at 2:30. We go live at 2:30.
Yep.
And then the next month we're going back to our regular time, and that episode will include the Wilfred Benitez versus Sugar Ray Leonard fight. We're going to be talking because it's the anniversary of that fight, so we're going to be talking about it.
All right.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into the deep dive. So Gabe, take it away.
All right. So we've been, I'm going to talk about something that we always talk about the reverse of this. We always talk about the flip side of the coin, which is that a lot of athletes get into drugs, right? And there's a lot of reasons we can talk about that. I think we've touched on it quite a bit here on the show. There's performance enhancing and recreational, very different reasons that they get into those things. But I figured we should keep it positive today, and let's put the positive spin back and look at the other side. Can exercise and sports actually keep you off of drugs? And so yeah, there's actually a lot that I've read about this. There's not as much research on humans. There's more research on animals, but you know, but there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, of course, that people will give you willingly. One of the things that I read this article that was talking about, how this sort of thing is exercise in general. That more and more practitioners are kind of recommending it for people battling addictions. I think I've told you and Kev Dog this once that when you exercise, it actually does release endorphins into your brain. So it is quintessentially a natural high, and it's kind of the most quintessential natural high, you could say. Yeah, some people, so I know it works for me, yeah, you want to, and when it takes a lot to get into that mode, it is the inertia, like, oh God, I know that you're like, oh God, I don't want to start exercise. But once you actually get into the mode, then it becomes easier and easier. And like I said, releasing the endorphins and things like that. So yeah, I can actually, and so there's a lot of people are talking about, can that be effective in drug treatment, or can that be effective in keeping people away from drugs or other addictions?
Well, I think it depends on the brain because, you know, I mean, Johnny Tapia, the famous boxer, I mean, he was addicted to drugs for years. I mean, he
Right.
would, he was in and out, and I mean, even though he was like a multiple-time world champion in lower weight classes, but he was still, he was still going in and out of jail for drugs, and he
Right.
was always getting caught, and
Right.
it wasn't until like towards the end of his career that he was completely sober and stuff. And I mean, I saw the documentary on HBO, and well, of course, I mean, it was like trauma, growing up and stuff like that. Definitely his mom, it really affected him, and you know. So it's like, yeah, he was a world champion. Yeah, he was training in a gym and stuff like that. But even then, he was still battling his demons.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I mean, the thing we do have to realize is that a lot of times it is, they call it an addictive personality. And a lot of people have that, and some of us, don't. But a lot of that has to do with genetics as well. So yes, you can have naturally an addictive personality because of your genes that you grew up with, and so yeah, people are usually more disposed to then go towards drugs, into addiction. It's not as simple and clear cut, right? But yeah, I think there is a lot of evidence to show that it kind of can work. There's like I said, a lot of the research is done on animals. They found that rats with alcohol addiction, which is kind of strange to think of, but yeah, there are rats and other animals that have become dependent on alcohol, and they have been able to show that there is a positive correlation of them running more on the wheel, rats in their wheel, and having less of the kind of anxiety, behaviors and addictive behaviors, they, as far as the scientists can tell, it looks like they're less sensitive to temperature, things like that, which are all sign agitation, temperature sensitivity and stuff like that, and stress. They're all signs of withdrawal. So yeah, that would indicate that that the exercise does ease that withdrawal. And And then, there was a story I read. A story I read. This one person was saying why, he said it was called why soccer kept me off of drugs. And so, he's basically saying that, he played soccer, that a lot of the things he was battling with in his life, bullies and things like that, soccer gave him more confidence. So that's one thing. He's like, if I can run across the field and score a goal, then I can actually come up with a comeback quicker. When bullies are pestering me, I feel like I can come up with that comeback. I can push back against that that hatred of me. I can reach my full potential in school, whatever it is. So it's like not just the actual physical exercise, but the confidence of being able to do that thing. Which is kind of like the big thing is the big draw of sports. One of the main things, I've said this before, what I think one of the main great things about sports is that it shows the heights of human potential and achievement. And so that's a whole other thing. You can also kind of replace the anxiety, the depression, and what would drive you to addiction. You can replace all that, at least a lot of people can, with the achievement of sports, and with the natural high of the exercise and things like that. So that's what one person said. Soccer kept me off of drugs, period. Also, you're too busy. Being an athlete, you're too busy. And he said that was also very helpful. And again, if you have an addictive personality, some people are more drawn to it, and it's going to be a lot harder road to recovery for them. But
better example, look at Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
When she was trying to kick drugs, she was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and mixed martial arts, and,
exactly.
Working with Jay Glazer. She fell off the wagon, but ever since ever since falling off the wagon, she's been sober again for a year, and she's working out. She has she has a boyfriend. She's working on new music, and
but that for her, that's a good point, because that's also a completely different side of herself.
She has bipolar too.
Well, yes, okay, but it can help to find that completely different side of yourself, and nurture that, and it's something that none of us would have thought about her. We would have, never thought that she would belong, in an athletic world, and she might not have thought that about herself until it happened.
She's really passionate about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and she's a fan of MMA and stuff. But the thing is with Demi is that Demi has, she does have some, she does have some demons herself, and what have you. And the thing is, when she OD'd, there were some people that talked about, like, oh, drug addict, once again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, look, we don't know what triggered it.
Right.
We didn't know what triggered it, and apparently, I think it was because she was hanging out or something or whatever. But the thing is, it's a sprint, not a marathon when you're battling addiction.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And again, I was kind of saying that whole thing about addictive personality. It's not to downplay the demons that they're dealing with, and it's not to say that that this is as easy for everyone as it is for some. It's not. But it can be a really good pathway. I think for a lot of people, not just for some. It might not work as well to keep people away from addiction as others, but I think it is a good pathway. And again, it's the exercise and it's the achievement, which are both kind of accentuated in sports. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It definitely is. Because we've also heard the story of like the addictive like addictive fighter or addictive basketball player or whatever, and they go back to doing what they love, and it keeps them off drugs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for some it works and some it doesn't. I mean, another example, Chris Herron. Of course, we all know him. Basketball junkie. The whole thing about being addicted to drugs in high school and college and pros and stuff like that. And he had a long battle with addiction, and of course, now he's been clean and sober now for years.
Right, exactly. So I mean, it shows that it is possible, and it can kind of give you. I think the other thing besides the achievement, it can give you something else to fill your life with. Like I said, Demi Lovato is a perfect example because she might not have thought people see me in this one way, and yeah, I love my music, I love producing this music, but there's more to me, and I want to find it, and then she did. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing, bringing forth something else in yourself that you didn't think was possible, which is also what sports can provide. That's like I said, basically achievement again.
Oh yeah, but it's going to take more than sports. You need a sober coach. It's going to meetings, and stuff, and all that.
Yes, indeed.
And also knowing that because this is a marathon. You have to take it one day at a time. I mean, that's what they tell you when you go to meetings for alcohol and drugs. It's like you have to live in the moment. You have to take it moment by moment. You got to say, okay, today I will not drink. You have to keep reminding yourself, like for the next day, the next day, the next day. It's
exactly.
Today I will not drink. Today I will not do drugs.
Yeah, because sometimes it can be too much to and I've gone through that with myself. Sometimes it can be it's a lot easier to say today I won't do it versus okay, I have to get to 3 weeks. Get to 3 weeks without it. I have to get to a month without it. I have to get to a year without it. Like that just sounds too much, and sometimes it is. You know what I mean? So it's like you just boil it down. To can I do without it today? and then yes, I can. And then the next day, can I do without it today? Maybe I can't. Maybe I cannot. But if I do without it that day, then then it just, like I said, it's kind of like, also, like I said, getting into the mode of exercise. It's kind of the same type of thing. It will get easier if you keep saying today I won't do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, because everyone has gone through an addiction. I mean, even of course, it's funny I mentioned this because WWE had was in Boston last night, for Monday Night Raw.
Right.
Mike Bennett, who, well, actually, he just asked for his release from WWE. He got released by WWE, but he was battling addicted to opiates for years. And then and during his time in WWE, he took time off, and I mean, thanks to his wife.
There's actually a lot of reasons. Yeah, there's actually a lot of reasons you could say that being in these sports does push them to these drugs. That's the other thing, especially opiates or performance enhancing. Those would be the most dangerous for you to go into when you are in the athletic world. So I mean, that's we shouldn't ignore that either. That yeah, sometimes you can actually be pushed towards these drugs if you have a big injury from the sport and whatever.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, the thing is also, like, I remember Jesse Ventura talking about this, on the commentary for Beyond the Mat, and he says that he talked about steroids. He said, like, you almost got to use them because because there's a certain appearance that comes with being a wrestler, and and all that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of making this segment a little bit different, and maybe a future segment I will do this. I was thinking of posing the question: should we just completely allow performance enhancing?
I gotta stop you right there. No. Because the thing is, the playing field has to be leveled.
Yeah,
and the other thing, it's like there are people who don't take any drugs at all, and it's like, oh, okay, I get there by hard work and exercising, and you're getting there, by taking one simple little pill.
Yeah, a cheat or a shortcut.
Yeah, you're taking a shortcut.
Right.
It's one thing if you take vitamins, if you take vitamins and stuff that's over the counter and approved by the FDA.
Right.
But if it's like, something that's illegal and stuff like that, then it's like, no.
Yeah, that does make sense. I do ultimately agree with you, but I think it's going to be it's like it is one of those kind of hard things because it will be harder and harder to it'll be harder and harder to get it away from the sport, as it goes on in the future, as these things become more available. But I guess maybe they always were more available. So we just have to keep dealing with it. You know what I mean, and keep finding a way to keep it away.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there are some athletes that learn from other athletes' mistakes in the past, and there are some that don't do any drugs at all.
Yeah.
You mean CM Punk? Of course. He had a failed career as a MMA fighter, but in pro wrestling, it's he really does live up to that whole straight edge thing. He goes, look, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't take any drugs, not even medical drugs,
right?
And and also you hear about fighters that are on that pathway themselves. They're like, hey, look, I don't even go out to the bars. I don't do any of that stuff. I mostly just stay at home.
Right. And it is the focus, like I said, that guy is that who believes soccer kept him off drugs is like also the focus. What I mean, the complete focus, the dedication to it. You're like
Well, the soccer player, like, where's he from?
Yeah, see, he sounds American when I read it, but I don't know. He might be from England or something like that. Because I know what you're gonna. Basically, if you're from a country that celebrates soccer more, then it's more of a big deal.
Well, no. I was gonna say because, like, there's that, but there's also like, in Europe, like, France, Italy, England. It's like, it's a place where everybody smokes and everybody smokes, everyone drinks. So it's like, it's kind of hard to stay sober when you're in an environment.
That's a good point. Yes. I would agree. But I'm sure a lot of people from the outside would say that we drink a ton in America, though. So, but yeah, I get that. So the other thing I was going to say was. The other example I was going to use is this is kind of off topic, but there's also I watched this special a few years back about compulsive running. There actually are people that are they may or may not be athletes, but they feel the need to run as much as they possibly can, and that's a for the most part a healthy addiction. Maybe it can become unhealthy, but that would take a lot. Yeah. But it would take a lot to become. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it takes a lot to become unhealthy. Mostly, it's a healthy addiction. But this one, I remember that they talked about this one person who she was on speed. She was on speed or crystal meth back in the day, and that's like the way she deals with her sobriety now. Is to just compulsively run as much as she possibly can. So it might there might be some, like I said, unhealthy aspects of it if you go too far with the running, but if it keeps her off of speed, then then all power to it. Like I don't even care if the running becomes unhealthy. If it keeps you off of speed, that's much better for your life.
I mean, moderation.
Yeah.
I mean, like, also it got me thinking, like, remember when in the movie Forrest Gump, after Jenny left him?
Yes. Kind of like Forrest Gump, run, Forrest, run. Yeah, and he just keeps going.
Yeah, he was like, for a while, he was like, he was running across country and stuff, and it's like, would that be considered compulsive running? Because, like, he's not addicted to any drugs or anything.
Right. I was. That's kind of what I thought of when I saw that special, because in a way it would be, because I think there was a point where someone asked him, When are you going to stop? Whatever. And I forget what his answer was, but he's like, definitely not yet. So and it was kind of the same thing when they interviewed a compulsive runner, like, are you going to stop? And they're like, I'm afraid, afraid of what will happen when I stop. So yeah, I think he did show aspects of that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, because of, like, Jenny had left him again, and
right.
And this was also after she had she had fucked him too. So
yeah, exactly.
it's like, so now the woman that he loved for so many years is now,
and he would say gave himself, to so shall we say.
Yeah, and then I mean, of course, and then well, of course, later on, it would, he would find out that she had a son by him and stuff. But
at that point, yeah, he didn't know any of that. He just knew that he was dumped, and that is a way to deal with it. And so Forrest Gump, like the character, would never touch drugs, would never want to go near them. So he wouldn't be tempted by that, but someone else who's going through similar hardships, might be tempted, and that might be a way to turn away, just start running instead.
Yeah, well, you also got to remember in the movie, she was, this took place in like the 50s, 60s. Well, by the time it was like the 60s and 70s, like there was no, like, I mean, I'm sure there was, but there was no like deeper analysis on why a person would turn to drugs, and like also she had been molested and and stuff like that, and and it's kind of also a tragedy, because it's like, here's this good guy, he's he's in Vietnam meeting the president, he's playing college football, he's doing all these things.
Everywhere you go, there's Forrest.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's seeing the world. Yeah. And yet this lady here, she's like, I mean, she's seen the world too, but it's mostly as a hippie and, doing drugs.
Sleeping around and for a while,
sleeping around, getting in abusive relationships. And
exactly.
In fact, my favorite part was when after the dude slapped her, and Forrest looked at him, and then it was like he was like running, and it was like the slow mo, like almost like the $1 Million Man. You almost expect to, every time you see that scene, you almost expect to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, also it tackles him. It's just like bam, bam, bam.
Exactly. Go, Forrest, go. Yeah. Indeed.
He should not be hitting you, Jenny.
Oh, that's a classic. It never gets old.
Yeah. It was even funnier afterwards when the guy's like, listen, I never meant to hurt you, Jenny. It's like, it's just at this war and that line, son of a bitch Johnson, and and then Forrest, of course, because he can't like intellectually like you can't articulate it, but he just goes, what I think. You should go home to Greenbow, Alabama.
Yep, indeed.
Oh yeah.
I never great movie. Great.
Oh yeah, I never get tired of that movie.
Exactly. No, me neither. But embedded in that is kind of the type of tragedy and stuff that we're talking about. Yeah, and it is, like you said, it is really a tragedy how how they split up, and what he feels versus what she feels, and all that type of thing.
Well, to make it also, I know about this. As I'm kind of going through this right now in my real life, trying to, put a little bit of my real life in this. There's this girl who I known since high school, and I actually told her a few nights ago. We've been talking again. Is that I tell she is the Jenny to my Forrest, because like I do love her, and I would love to be with her and stuff like that. But
and you tried to make it work.
Well, the thing is with this girl. Her name's Kathy, by the way. Oh. This is the other girl. Not
I was about to say, not who I was thinking of.
Yeah,
okay.
not her. No, it's been over. Yeah, but the other, but Kathy, it's the thing is, it's that she's told me that she has a type, and her type is mostly what she wants. And, it does hurt, it does hurt because, I've told her that, I do, I told her that I love her and stuff, but she only sees me as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's disappointing, but, it's heartbreaking, but, but I do respect her decision.
Right.
And, she says like, look, you're very sweet, you're very charming, but you have she says, but I just have a type, and I only see you as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of but she did kind of leave a door open. We did say like, if we're both single again, if there's another time where we're both single, then we would discuss that.
If you're single in 15 years, yeah. That's
not in 15 years.
No, I'm kidding. That's what good movies are made of. If we're single in 10 years and 15 years, whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, no, I get it. I understand. Probably not the time to sing the Friends song. Friends.
I don't.
You don't know that one?
No.
Don't go looking at me with that look in your eye.
Who sings that?
I forget it. It's a Demi Lovato type. It's not her, but it's kind of like her. But I don't know who it is. But it's a pretty popular song. That look in your eye. I've said it once 1,000 times. Friends.
I want to. Is that like I don't know, Billie Billie?
Yeah, it also seems like Billie Eilish, but it's not her. We're not going to get it, I'm sure. But yeah. Anyway, that's unfortunately that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah. So she is, but Kathy, she is the Jenny to my Forrest, and
right.
Of course, I'm still going to be looking and trying to date other people, but we're still good friends. And also, she has a son, and her son actually has Asperger's himself. And so, I met his son. His son is a very nice kid. He's in his first year of middle school, charter school, getting good grades. So, yeah. Hey, Kathy, what's up? Hey, Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's 1:28. So we're gonna start wrapping this up now.
Yep.
We'll be back next week. We're gonna be back next week and hopefully on time. And after that, we'll be back the second week of December.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, we're only gonna be doing 2 weeks in December.
Yeah.
But then after that, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program in January. And also, once again, don't forget Ringside with Matt and Gabe this Saturday at 2:30. Wilfred Benitez versus Sugar Ray Leonard.
All right, cool.
So from Beantown to your town, this is Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Byers,
Gabe Shamus,
Vios con Dios.